Number one tip I would give when it comes to hormones is your hormones are more powerful than any diet you go on.
Okay.
Simply put, your hormones are signals. They are like chemical messengers that go from your brain to your body to your brain.
Hello, Enrich community. This is your virtual bestie, Simran Adderley. Welcome back to the Enrich Podcast, a show where we explore topics that inspire personal and professional growth. I am so excited about today's episode. We have Meagan Chhoker here today. Meagan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we're going to talk all about gut health, wellness, and I want to talk a little bit about Meagan's background, her bio. She's a wellness entrepreneur focusing on female health. Meagan is a certified nutritionist, Pilates instructor, and a personal trainer, which is so inspiring. She's on a mission to teach women how to properly fuel their bodies and create a healthy lifestyle that aligns with their goals. And she coaches women on holistically optimizing their health and well-being by focusing on hormones and gut health. That is so cool, Meagan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
So Meagan, I know you're very, very passionate about gut health. And I also feel like when someone's very passionate about their field, there's always a big why. There's always a story behind it. What is your story?
So I kind of started a little over 10 years ago where ever since I was little, always complained about my stomach hurting. And I would go to the doctors and they would tell me like, there's literally nothing wrong with you, but I couldn't digest anything. I always had a sharp pain in my stomach. And over the years, I got to a point where I was just so sick and tired of dealing with it. I started to kind of figure out where it was coming from. And this was like around the time where people started to talk about gut health and the mind connection to your gut. Again, I had no clue. I was like 18, 19 when I was trying to figure it out. But over the years, I realized that a strong link between my gut came from the home that I was living in. Now, when I grew up in a very emotionally unstable home. My parents had an arranged marriage. They got along in front of us, but it wasn't like the happiest of marriages. We lived with our grandparents. It was a chaotic household. I was the oldest, so a lot of it felt on me to like take care of mom, be there for mom. And then over the years, I think just like the trauma, the energy of the house really impacted my health. And so it didn't actually get better until about the year COVID started. So 2020 is when COVID started.
Yes.
When 2020 started, I had just started to figure out the whole gut health thing. And it's from there that the whole business and everything kind of just sparked, because I kind of figured it out. And I knew that there was more girls, especially East Indian girls, that come from homes that I came from, and they have the same thing. They're bloated. They just like, their hair's falling out. Their skin is just they're not happy with who they are. And I wanted to be able to help them because I kind of know where they're going through. And you go to a doctor and the doctor's not going to really tell you anything. So that's where it kind of stemmed from. Yeah. And now my main focus is really the hormones and the gut health. A little bit of weight loss, but not so much. It's primarily just hormones, gut health, and like a holistic approach.
I love that. And you being a personal trainer, Pilates instructor, that really helps too, right?
Yeah.
The physical aspect to it. And I can so relate to your story. Like I've always felt bloated. And I feel like every time I was going through something emotionally, I just like went towards eating food, right? I was like snacking on things, and I kind of can still see that happening here and there. So I think we can kind of touch on that a little bit later. But why do you think it's so important to understand nutrition for your health and overall well-being?
Simply put, you are what you eat. Mm-hmm. And you will know when you eat McDonald's, you eat fast food, you're not going to feel the best. And then when you switch it up and you eat healthy food, you'll start to feel better from the inside out. And there is science to show that your microbiome has a huge role in your mood, your appetite, your weight gain, your weight loss. And those bugs in your stomach, depending on what you're eating, are going to either lean towards, let me absorb more food and store it, or let me burn it for fuel. And then it's so hard in today's like society, when you go to a grocery store, you don't know what's healthy, because like marketing has done a phenomenal job of telling you what's healthy, but you don't really know until you turn it around and you look at the nutrition label. And again, it's not something you're really taught in school. It's like they kind of touch on it. Mm-hmm. They give you that like food diagram that you're given, but they don't really go into detail about what food does in your body, how it metabolizes the protein, the carbs, the fats. And I think understanding how it digests in your body is a huge key to kind of picking and choosing what you want to eat.
Mm-hmm. That's a great explanation. So how do people really find out about this information? How do you dive into it? I know you have a course and we go into it, but like just high level, if you can tell us.
I think most clients that I've talked to, they really start, unfortunately, from like an unhealthy place where they go straight into a diet and they start cutting out everything, which isn't the best way to go about it, but it kind of gives you a step into, okay, well, at least they're actually looking at their food and they're being more mindful. And then you get to take that and kind of like grow on it. Well, okay, well, if I'm eating carbs, what kind of carbs I want to eat? And I mean, there's so many resources on the internet, and like Instagram is so cool because like you can follow like doctors and nutritionists. They like break it down so easily for you. But I think it really comes down to, if I had to give like one piece of advice, like where do you start? If you look at a nutrition label and you can't read the ingredients, that is red flag. Like if you are eating something that sounds like a chemical, I mean, it's okay because like, you do live in 2023 and like you are going to get it. But if your entire diet consists of like opening a box and it's like food dye and like this and that is where I would stop. And then I would consider, when you go grocery shopping, to look at the outskirts of the grocery store. The aisles are the last place you want to go. So you want to go to the veggies, you want to go to the meat, you want to go to the dairy, and then you go inside the aisles and grocery shop there.
Wow, that's a great tip. I'm taking notes. So something like personally, I can relate to this. I'm always on the go, and I'm pretty sure our listeners can benefit from this tip. How do I and our listeners establish a balanced and sustainable diet without feeling overwhelmed? Because I personally feel that I want to be healthy as much as I can, but I'm always on the go. I have a different schedule. How do I establish a sustainable and balanced diet?
I have 3 tips. Number one is we are always on the go. So having healthy snacks ready to go is going to be a key. So having like a list, like I know some people have like cheese strings, turkey, fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds, protein bars that maybe have like less than 5 ingredients. Great on the go. Okay. Number 2, set a goal for yourself that you want to have at least 80% of your meals at home. It's totally fine to go out and eat, even if on the go, but just having that like mindset, okay, majority of my meals are going to be at home. I will make double the dinner because then it's lunch the next day. And then the great thing about like today's society is there's so many healthy options, even on the go. Like Starbucks is amazing. You can go to grocery stores and they have like those little food cafe things. So there are so many healthy options on the go. But as long as you're cooking most of your meals at home and just making bigger portions, you'll have enough for breakfast and lunch the next day.
I love that. So what are some common key nutrients that people often overlook, and how can we incorporate them into our diets?
Protein. I would say mostly for girls, we're not eating enough protein.
I do that too myself.
Like we don't, right? And so I think the number one is protein. And the easiest way to get it in is to make your meals, like the base of it is protein. So before you think about like your potatoes and veggies, pick one protein and base your entire meal off of that. And it's okay to maybe track it for a few weeks. I don't want clients tracking it all day, every day, because then it gets into that very unhealthy where you're like tracking everything. But if you can track what you're eating for like a week or so, you'll have a great idea of your protein. And on top of that, if you are tracking it, you're going to see where you're deficient most in, and you'll be able to know where you need to add more or less into your diet.
What would you recommend for someone who's a vegetarian? Myself, it's been 5 years, I'm a vegetarian. How do I increase my protein intake?
I was vegan for 6. I got you, okay?
I love
lentils,
it.
I lived off of lentils. Lentil pasta is phenomenal because it has like 30 grams of protein plus all of your minerals are in it. Tofu, I absolutely loved. If you eat eggs, you could have eggs. But a lot of tofu, lentils, nuts, and seeds. The only thing to remember is that when you're eating plant-based proteins, our body's not going to absorb it as well as it would if it was meat or salmon.
Oh, good to know.
So the only trick there is so let's say you have 30 grams of protein, you want to aim for 30 to 50. When it comes to veggie, you're going to want to be on the 50 side because your body's not going to absorb all of it. Whereas if you're on the lower side, like you're not going to get as much. So that's like the number one thing when it comes to being vegetarian is you want to get as much per serving as possible.
Love that tip. And I know we were talking a little bit about meal planning. Do you have any practical tips for someone who wants to meal plan? Like something very quick for me to know personally. I try to do it every Sunday, but that doesn't work always. So let's say on a Wednesday night, I want to meal prep for the next few days. What are some practical tips that you can give us?
Biggest one is to make double dinner for the next day. Also, to erase the mindset that breakfast needs to be eggs. If you are having chicken and broccoli for dinner, you can have it for breakfast the next day. It's not ideal, but like you're going to get your veggies, you're going to get your protein. Number 2 is I don't like to meal prep. You know how they do it aesthetically? Like everyone like, I don't do that. I batch prep. Yes. I find it easier to make a bunch of chicken, a bunch of tofu at once, separate it, then the broccoli and the rice separated. That way when you open your fridge, you've got all the macros there. All you have to do is just throw it together.
Perfect. That is amazing. I'm actually going to do that tomorrow.
It's tomorrow Wednesday, yeah.
I love that. Could you also give us some simple ways that we can make healthier choices when dining out? Like any restaurant that you can recommend, or just some simple tips when we're dining out? Because I personally enjoy dining out. I love going out. And I also know you share a lot on your stories, even on your Instagram feed, about some tips. Like, this is what I'm eating today, even when you're on the go. So anything that you could share that's going to really help us optimize our health overall?
I have two, but they're kind of boring. So bear with me. Number 1 is you want to avoid fried foods. So you want to stick to the raw foods, like the salads. If you have salmon, the salmon. Cooked foods are going to be cooked in very inflammatory oils. It's just the way it is when you go to a restaurant. True. So if you were trying to be healthier, I would consider eating more of the raw foods. Staying away from fried is your best bet. But then again, I would say, let's say you're having apples that are fried and a main meal that comes with fries. Decide which one you want. You don't have to give them both up, but maybe don't have 2 fried things. And the second one is always start with a green salad. 1, it's going to help your body. The digestive enzymes are going to get released. It'll help you absorb your main meal better. 2, it's going to make you feel a lot less hungry, so that when the burger and fries do come out, you're not tempted to like scarf the whole thing down. And then my 3rd tip when you go out is to always start with hot water and lemon, because lemon also activates digestive enzymes, helps you break down those foods so that you're not feeling like stuffy and gross afterwards. But then again, majority of us, hopefully you're not eating out Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you are going out once or twice on a weekend, it's totally fine, because 80% of your meals are still going to be home cooked.
Love that. I know a lot of the doctors and health experts that I follow always talk about superfoods, right? So can we dive a little bit into that? I want to kind of talk about what are some 5 superfoods we should add into our diet.
Okay, I would say blueberries, because they're good for your brain health and antioxidants. I would say walnuts, again, for brain health. I'm really big on brain health and anti-inflammatories. If you eat salmon, I would say salmon 100%. Avocados, again, another healthy fat, especially for women. Healthy fat is really important for hormone protection. So if you are in your 20s and you're seeing any hormonal imbalances, you want to amp up the healthy fats, because our steroid hormones are made from fats. So olive oil, avocados, hemp hearts, and then another staple that I guess I love as a superfood would be hemp hearts, because I love the protein. I love the fiber, and I love that it has health fats.
Love that. I do add pumpkin seeds, chia seeds to my yogurt.
Because you're vegetarian, so you need it all. Yeah.
Okay, love that. I am on the right path, right?
Honoring you.
Awesome. I do want to know, how can we also break bad eating habits? Are there any tips that you can give to myself or our listeners, how we can break bad habits? I know it can be hard, but do you recommend doing them gradually? Some people go all in, cutthroat. Is that the right way to do? Because you can also fall back into the old habits again.
You can do that. Props to you. I would say start by, instead of removing things, start adding more of the good stuff. You kind of want to like crowd out the junk food. So instead of saying, I'm not having any more chips, just eat more veggies, eat more protein. Number 1 thing I would say is have more protein. And like, the reason why is because you can't overdo protein. It satiates you. It makes you feel full. You are less likely to have those cravings. So whenever you feel hungry, just something protein heavy, I'd start with. And then second, depending on where your eating habits are coming from, I would suggest journaling it out. Because oftentimes when we're when we're like stress eating, there's a lot going on and we're just eating everything in plain sight. There's something going on in your life and you're using food to help you with it. Yeah. So if you could just sit down with your thoughts, kind of figure out where it's coming from, you might not feel the need to eat it. But then if you do, at least you know why you're doing it. And then again, if you're craving certain foods like chocolate or you're craving salty foods like chips, it could mean that you're deficient in something. So if you're craving chocolate, there's a high likelihood you're deficient in magnesium. If you're craving a lot of salty foods, maybe you need more like of the Himalayan salt. So maybe adding salt to your water in the mornings, but really looking a little bit deeper to like, okay, why am I craving it? Am I deficient in something? And can we start there? And blood work for that is perfect.
Wow. I've never thought about it that way because I do crave a lot of chocolate, especially dark chocolate. Yeah. And I also take magnesium as my supplement before going to bed. So I just
if it's dark chocolate.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Awesome. Let's talk about nutrition and the impact it has on our physical health. So, I exercise a lot. So how can the impact it has on physical performance and exercise recovery? So I'm talking about nutrition here.
100%. It is probably the most important thing when it comes to recovery. I mean, if you see an athlete and after like a football practice, they're eating McDonald's chips, not the best. But if you come back and you're eating high protein, you're going to give your muscles exactly what it needs to rebuild. You want to be eating more healthy carbs because all that glycogen stores, they're going to be gone. You want to replenish them. Healthy fats, when it comes to recovery, healthy fats are kind of like the last one I would focus on specifically for recovery because it's mostly just the protein and the carbs. Fats come at the very end for that. And then I would focus on hydration. And I'm not just talking about water. I'm talking electrolytes in your water, salt in your water. All of these things are needed to get your body to function properly, the nerves, the muscles. And again, focusing on getting that meal after your workout, or if you're playing a sport within about 2 hours, there's no need for you to like scarf down a shake right after your workout because
that's what I've heard. After 30 minutes, you should have a protein shake. Is that correct?
Okay, you could.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed that if you just finish a workout, your entire body is like in a fight or flight. You just like pumped a bunch of iron. You're either running like you are on a totally high level. When you eat and your body is in that stress state, right away, your digestive system is not going to be happy. Because when you're working out, it tends to close. So if you eat literally right after you work out, you could have a little bit of digestive issues. Again, if you're already bloated, maybe you don't want to do that. I wait about an hour, go home, shower, calm down, then eat. You will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Awesome. Let's talk about hormonal information, right? So how do we balance our hormones? Any important information that you want to give us about that? Any supplements that you recommend for our gut health?
Okay. The number one tip I would give when it comes to hormones is your hormones are more powerful than any diet you go on. Simply put, your hormones are signals. They are like chemical messengers that go from your brain to your body to your brain. So when your hormones are balanced, you will have healthy hair, healthy skin, you're going to have energy, you're going to digest food, you're going to see weight loss, your metabolism is going to be high. But when your hormones are not running like that, there is an imbalance, you are going to have a sluggish metabolism. Your hair is going to fall out. You are going to have bloating. And the reason why we have imbalanced hormones is like your hormones are technically getting signals from everything you're doing. So your lifestyle, your stress, the workouts, the food you do. So when it comes to balancing your hormones, there's no one single thing you can do, but there's several things that can kind of help you. One is sleep. Now there's this really cool fact that I learned and it has stuck with me forever. So when you sleep, your hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin, they technically
recover.
They know there's another word I'm looking for. Oh my God, brain fart.
All good. Take your time.
They do their thing. They like restore, it'll come to me, but they do their thing when you're sleeping. When you don't get enough sleep, those hormones go whack. So what that means is the next day, if you're hungry and you're eating, your brain's not going to get the signal to stop.
Wow.
So if you're sleep deprived and you're eating literally everything, it's because those hormones didn't get to that's the word, repair. They did not repair overnight and it's all whack the next day. Then on top of that, you're going to be craving sugary, high carb foods because your energy is low, your blood sugar is low. The very first thing you're going to grab is the sugar because that is what your body needs to get the energy back. So number one, when it comes to hormones, is make sure you're getting at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. But what you do before you go to bed and what you do in the morning is just as important. So make sure you're not looking at blue light before bed. You're not on your phone. In the morning, you're not getting up and like looking at your phone right away. The other great one for hormones is going for walks, cardio, anything low impact is going to get the muscles stimulated, especially if you're focusing on blood sugar control. When you work out, your muscles open up and that extra blood sugar and the insulin, you don't want too much of it going around your body, your muscles will pick it up and use it.
Okay.
So you want to be working out, you want to be going for long walks. And then last but not least, you want to be eating in a way where you're balancing all your meals and balancing your blood sugar, because there's a huge correlation between hormones and blood sugar balance. Each meal needs to be protein, carbs, and fat. Yeah. Because if you don't have the protein, it's going to spike the blood sugar. Blood sugar comes down, you're hangry, and it's like not the prettiest cycle.
Yeah.
Those would be the 3 things I focus on if somebody were to start with their hormones.
And any supplements that you recommend?
I would say maybe if you are dealing with a hormonal imbalance due to stress, ashwagandha is great.
Okay.
I would do magnesium at night. I even like turmeric for any sort of inflammation, vitamin D, fish oil. Again, if you're not eating fish, maybe you want to supplement fish oil. If you are eating it, you might not have to.
Okay.
But those are the main ones. I really focus on inflammation and any supplements to help with that, because it'll carry over into your hormone health and gut health.
Love it. I'm glad that some of the supplements that you recommended, I already take them, so I feel really good. And I also love that you touched on sleep. That is so, so important, because I was also reflecting as you were speaking about sleep, because last week I had a couple of days where my sleep schedule was off and I could totally feel all the cravings the next day. I wanted to eat more food, even though I was like active, taking in a lot of more protein, but oh my God, cravings were real. So sleep is so, so potent, right?
I know. Yeah. And you also feel more puffy and like inflamed. So like a solid night of sleep is like the holy grail of everything.
Yeah, I love that. I love to finish off my episode by asking my guests what inspires and motivates you every single day. So I would love to know that.
I think what inspires me is when I first started my journey, I would look at all these like influencers and like they helped me so much because I could see like the light at the end of the tunnel. And I could see that like all of this hard work, you're like glowing inside out. What motivates and inspires me is to hopefully one day be that for someone else, like so that you can see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that like these health issues you have, the hormones, the gut health, there is a way to solve them. And I want to be able to help somebody get to that, because I truly know the pain they're going through today. And I want them to feel a billion times better literally every single day.
That is a beautiful message. And you're already doing that. I mean, the courses that you're creating, the information that you're putting out there. So it's just going to get better from here. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Meagan.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah. This episode was so informative, and I'm sure our listeners can feel the same. So thank you once again. And it was so lovely to have you here. And we're going to have you back again very soon.
Okay. I'd be honored. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in, Enrich community. Please don't forget to leave a comment below, ask us any questions, and share this episode with someone that you truly care about. And I'm going to leave you with this, like I always do, sending you a lot of love and positive vibes. See you next time.